The word iota has two distinct meanings. As a noun, 1. A tiny or scarcely detectable amount. 2. The ninth letter of the Greek alphabet.
Welcome to Iota for Thursday, July 28th, 2016. I'm Tony Lynn. Iota is a daily news podcast focused on the Internet of Things industry. This is where we talk about all the cool stuff that's going on and how do we take advantage of it. So welcome to Thursday. We're going to get started. We're going to drop right into some stories of the day. So General Electric is betting big on IoT as it hosts its developer conference this week, reports Stephen Lawson of IDG News Service. In addition, GE will be releasing a developer kit. This is cool, which is part hardware, part Predix. Predix started as an internal tool for monitoring its products and turned into be a product itself. And now they're betting big on Predix, let me tell you. GE expects the kits to bridge the gap between developers and help them to embrace IoT. These little kits, and I'll see if I can pull up a photo of it real quick. The kits themselves are it's a little box, little blue box that has everything that you might need inside of it, but it also then connects over to the Predix system. Let me pull this up for you real quick so you can see it. Again, this is another big thing that is happening here in IoT. You know, we talked a little bit about AT&T having a developer's kit, all these new boards that are coming out. This is fairly substantial. Look at the size of that thing. It's a lot bigger than you might expect, but it does help developers learn how to do this. Again, another one of these cool things that everybody's starting to do. I'm going to grab one. I don't know how much they cost. Hopefully they'll do something cheap and we can all get involved in this thing. It'd be great. MOTC is going to free up more wireless spectrum for IoT, reported Christine Chow in the China Post. The MOTC is basically the Transportation Ministry of Taiwan. I don't know why it's called MOTC, but it is. The Transportation Ministry said it would push hard to release more spectrum. I only put this in a lineup mainly because of a lot of talk about the spectrum that exists out there. And prior to just last week, I didn't really understand this. When I was at the Things Network meetup last week, one of the things that came out of that was the fact that every country only has a couple of bandwidth availability. And what this means is that if in your home today, like if you've got a Wi-Fi system, you know, it's either 2.4 gigahertz or maybe 5.4. Those are spectrums that are set aside for that. The old wireless telephones also were on the 2.4 spectrum itself. These kind of things are, you know, regulated by governments, and our own government only has everything is pretty much balled up, even though it's not necessarily used, which those who buy it actually want you to then pay for access to this. This is where the cellular companies really kind of make their money, is that they own that particular bit of spectrum, or it's leased, if you will, from the government in some cases. The more spectrum that gets freed up worldwide, the more ubiquitous these kind of devices become, and the better off it actually is. I had a conversation with someone who's in the know here recently, and their take on the whole thing, such as the Things Network or any of these other ones that are using some of this freely available spectrum, is that they're all destined to fail. And this is his words, not mine. And it's mainly because the fact that without any real ownership of the spectrum, that they're going to eventually default to the least common denominator, and in that case, it's useless. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that. I actually think that these systems will actually help make everything better. And although he cited, was it Motorola? I think he cited it, spent a ton of money on it. Maybe not been Motorola, maybe been someone else. But that spending all the money didn't solve the problem. And sometimes I don't think problems are solved by money; they're solved by individuals. Time will tell. I am interested to hear what you might think about this. All right. So when you think of a connected car, what do you think about? You think about Tesla. You maybe think about the new BMWs that are coming out. Do you think about a Buick? No, probably not. So Payments.com sat down with Dave Spence, Buick's advertising manager, and Rick Martinek senior marketing manager for Global OnStar recently. And it turns out Buick is doing everything they can to upgrade the Buick line, including offering Wi-Fi access to a good bit of their cars, and also equipping them with 4G LTE. Now, they stated that by doing this, they're basically turning the cars into IoT devices, but I think it's bigger than that. If you look at a little bit of this push right now, I own a Ford, and the reason why I bought the Ford is because the Ford Sync that's inside of it actually allows me to talk and listen to music and podcast while I drive without too much work on my part. But imagine, if you will, if every car or enough cars exist that have Wi-Fi or have 4G LTE in it, then you can actually end up with your entire interstate system, your roadways, becoming a giant mesh network that allows, for connectivity that maybe were unintended, all the way down to the ability to track and maintain traffic and see where traffic is outside of a Waze app. So imagine, if you will, that there's a IoT app that allows you to just check and see what all the is coming from all of the devices that are moving up and down the roads. This becomes pretty cool pretty quick. Another possibility is that for those areas in which there is limited cell phone coverage or limited coverage in general, that if there's enough traffic on those roads and within the range of this, that perhaps that actually increases networking into those areas. I think it's a cool idea. I want to see things like this really take off. Dog, what are you doing? Sorry about that. Just trying to dig to China. All right, moving along. Yahoo News just recently passed on a PR Newswire story about the recent report from CompTIA, which finds that 23% of channel companies have made money out from their IoT offerings. I'm not really sure what a channel company is here, and I couldn't really find it in the article. So I'm assuming that they think that their audience knows what they're talking about. I'm going to assume you do as well. And while this may look like just another report on the success of IoT, what caught my eye was the following statement. Seth Robinson, Senior Director of Technology Analysis at CompTIA, states that first, complexity of IoT devices is beyond what many companies can handle internally, especially on the SMB end of the spectrum. Secondly, many areas of IoT are essentially extensions of the skills and lines of business that solution providers already have. What this is really just saying is what we've kind of been saying here, or what I've been saying here for past couple of weeks, is that everyone wants to get into this, but no one really has the skill sets internally. Again, offering plenty of opportunity for entrepreneurs and service providers and developers to get involved to actually help these companies realize what they're trying to solve. Again, we just keep reiterating or keep having stories that support these claims. I just think it's very very interesting. And finally, we end up with Peter Gutierrez of the IoT Hub reports that IoT devices need a digital twin. Now, let me explain a digital twin a little bit. It's basically where in software you model what the device itself is doing, down to the point of even power consumption along those lines. So what you want to be able to do is that you don't want to just put a device out and let the device just send back a very small subset of data, because then if there's something else going on with the device, then you have no insight into it. And so although Peter is mentioning this, I've read this in many other articles that I've been reading recently, but again, it's just down to the fact that if you have a completely digital software model of what the hardware is, then it makes it easier for developers to understand what is going on with the device. And I do think it's a very interesting concept. And as far as that goes, seeing it in production, I think would be very interesting. That's going to be it for today. I don't really have a discussion story. The news gets kind of thin toward the middle of the week, but I know we'll have plenty as we go. Like I said yesterday, we're still trying to line up the interview, and as soon as I get that done, I'll let you know who it is. But in the meantime, if you're enjoying what I'm doing here and you want to see more, or you have some ideas as to what maybe stories you might want to see covered, or if you have feedback and you want to be part of the community, feel free to let me know. You can always support us at patreon.com/Tonemach. Eventually, I hope to pay for the hosting, but right now it's it's just a labor of love. As always, my email address is tonamuck@gmail.com. You can also find me at tonamuck on Twitter, and you can find any of my projects at www.tonamuck.com. Have a good Thursday, almost the end of the week. We'll see you tomorrow.